Okay, welcome to Genius Dreams Education channel. In our previous lesson, we did a brief introduction about HTML and CSS, how we can use both of them in web design. And today we are going to look at how to create buttons using HTML and CSS to provide the styling part. So let's start for today's work, where we are going to design buttons in HTML and then we use CSS to style it. So starting, let's create our new workspace by clicking on Ctrl+N to get our new workspace. Then we will save it by Ctrl+S to save it. So I'm saving my as buttons 2, 3. Let me specify to HTML. Then let me save it. So let me come here and generate the content of the HTML. We will press Shift !, then enter to generate the content. So let's change the title to, because we are going to do buttons, let me make my title to be Buttons Tutorials. So that's Buttons Tutorials. Let me come here and first generate my first heading tag as how to create buttons. How to create buttons using HTML and CSS as my first heading tag. Then let me generate my buttons. Let me copy and paste it as many as I want. So I'm going to call my first button as home, then my second button as sign up, then my next button as contact us, then my last button as share. So for the other button, let me delete it. So these are my buttons. So let me save and go and refresh my page to check what I'm having at my page. So you can see home, sign up, sign in, about us, share, but the buttons are not showing. So let's check for the mistake or the error part and let's correct it. Oh, there was a typing mistake here. So let me delete this S, delete this one, delete this, and delete this. Now let's save and refresh again. So now you can see we are having our buttons being created. So the next thing is for us to style this button using CSS. So we are going to style this using CSS. So let's go and start our CSS file. We can do it external or internal CSS. So now we are going to use the internal CSS, and when we are to start with the main work, I said we will design a full website. But for now, let's know the tips we will use to design our full website. So when we are designing the main work, we will use an external CSS. So now let's use the internal CSS to start our work for now. First of all, let's start our body first. So for the body, I'm going to give it, let me specify the padding to 0 pixels, and then let me give it a margin of 0 pixels. Don't forget we use padding to create space inside and we use margin to create space outside the text. So after that, let me also check the text alignment. Let me center my text. So then let me save and refresh my page to see what I'm having. So let's keep on styling it. So the next one, let me come and style my button too. So I'm going to style the button. So for the button, let me give it a padding of, let's say, 15 pixels. Let me give it a margin of, let me say, the same 15 pixels too. Let me give the button a background color. The background color of, let me use what color? Let me use green. No, let me use red as the background color. So red, and let me use color for the text to be, let me use the Alice white. So now I can save and refresh the page again. So now you can see my buttons as they've been increased in size. So the padding gives space inside the box and the margin gives space between each box. So from each box you can see it's 50 pixels, and the space around the text and the box is 15 pixels. That's for the margin part. So now let's check for the border radius of our button. We want to make the edge or the border of the button round. So let's go in for the property border radius as the property. Then let's change it to a value of, let me use 15 pixels. Today I'm using 15 pixels. So let me save it and refresh it again to see how my buttons are going to look like. You can now see the buttons we are having now. Let me increase my border radius small because I don't want this one. I want it to look like, I want to make it more round. Okay, so this one is cool. This one is okay. So now you can see we've been able to use the CSS to provide or to style our buttons. And that's how CSS is being used to style HTML content. So you can see the site is now looking better and somehow attractive. So let's move on. We can also provide a hover effect on our text for the button and provide the hover effect or the cursor pointer effect for it. So let me say class. So let me call the class as active. Then let me copy it and come here and style it here. So dot active hover. So that's the active hover. So first of all, let me check the background. So when I send the cursor to the button, I want it to change color. So I want the background to turn to blue, and then the color text should turn to red. That's what I want. So when the background color turns to blue, my color text should turn to red, and it should take a time of, that's transition, it should take a time of 3 seconds, 0.3 seconds to change color. So 0.3 seconds, it should take a time of 0.3 seconds to change color. So now let me save it and refresh it. So you can see now what I'm having. Anytime I send the cursor to it, the active you see that it will change the color, the text color change within some few seconds. That's 0.3 seconds. So you can also change the mouse pointer for the active. So let's say cursor pointer. So let me change the cursor to pointer and then save it and refresh it again. So you can now see that the mouse has changed, the shape of the pointer has changed to the cursor. So that's how we can use CSS to provide, or we can use CSS to style the contents of the HTML. So we can provide these effects for all the buttons here to the same. We can just come and copy our class and paste it to provide that same effect for the rest of the button. You can copy, come here and paste. You can come here and paste because you want to provide the same effect. Or you can use the div element to style all are the same, for which as we are studying, we know how to do it. So now let me refresh my page and hover over it. So anytime I hover over each of the buttons, they all changes color based on the style or the value I set the properties to. So for this one, we can also finally add a background image as usual, as I always add a background image to my work to make it look nice. So let me add a background image to the work to make it somehow attractive. So background image. So let's specify the URL, and the name of my image is P. That's the image I always use. So then let me go for background position. Let me position it to center. Then let me go in for background size. Let me make it cover. And as usual, don't forget the image you are using should be saved at where your file is. So this is my file and this is the image I'm using. Both of them should be within the same folder. Then you can proceed. So let me save and refresh my page again. So now you can see I'm having the background image and it's full cover, it's covering my web page. So now you can see anytime I hover over each button, they change this color. So this is how we can use HTML to create buttons and use the CSS to style it. So I hope you enjoy this lesson, and after all, to the text color too, we can change it and provide a background color for our how to create buttons using HTML and CSS. So you can yes. So this is how we can use HTML to create buttons and use the CSS to style it. Thank you for being with me, and thank you for following me. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as in our next lesson we'll be starting using the JavaScript to make all these buttons interactive. Subscribe to my channel. See you later. Goodbye.